at some fairly easy Latin with Seneca. Book 5, De Ventus, concerning the wind. 1. The ventus est fluent air, so the wind is flowing air. Quidem, certain people define it as thus: wind is air flowing to one part, to one side, one direction. This definition seems rather diligent or accurate, because never is air so immobile that it is not in agitation or in flux, in aliqua, to somewhere. So air is always going somewhere. Thus, the sea is said to be tranquillum, mare se neuter, when it's being moved lightly, levita. It's not inclining into one part. So the sea is said to be tranquil when it's not flowing hard to one direction. If we use partem like we did with the air and the water. And so, if you read cum placidum ventus staret mare, from Virgil and his Euclogs, or whatever they're called, this is dative ablative plural use of it, which we see up here, de ventus. When the wind that it's placid. Placid's an adjective, so I'm not really a big fan of poetry, but okay. So when the winds are being placid, the sea is standing. Skito, future imperative. So know that illud, that's the neuter again for the sea. So this is not standing, but it's secutai, if you know, like percussit and etc. They're compounds of this, which means being shaken. So no, the sea's not standing, but it's actually being agitated or struck lightly or percussed straightly. And when this happens, it's said to be tranquil. Because neither here nor there is it taking any force. So to get a storm, I guess there's a lot of force, but it's just tranquil. There's nothing really moving from here or there. 1-2. Idem et. So also is concerning air, gerund with est, which means must be done. So likewise, must be judged concerning air, that it is not ever immobile, even if it is quiet, which you can understand. Licit usually means you may, which you may be able to understand ex hoc from this. When the sun, which is male, is infused into some closed location, we're talking sunlight here, vitamus, we see tiny corpuscula, little bodies, are being carried about in adversum. The particles don't go along with the sun, they're just going wherever the hell they want. Alia are going sursum, and alia are going diorsum. Some are going up, some are going down. They're concursing in various ways. They're the dust particles, I guess what these are. 1-3, ergo. Therefore, if something's leastly diligent, is comprehended. Quod vult qui. Okay, so qui is the subject. He who, sometimes a qui can be plural, but here we see it's singular. So he who says the thing that he wants, which is leastly understood well. If he's saying a fluctus, a wave of this is agitation of the sea or to the sea, this is not properly said. That's what the poem's about. So it's leastly understood if he just says a wave is agitation of the sea. Here's the reason queer, because tranquility also, or even when it's tranquil, it's still being agitated or moved, the sea is. And he, who is abundantly taking precautions for himself, of who has this definition, of is that bit, definition, Hake, go together. A wave is an agitation of the sea going into one direction again. Partem used for side or direction. Thus, in hac re, in this matter also, which we are maxime looking into, we're greatly looking into, someone will not be circumscribed, which usually means shut in or fooled or something, who thus gesserts himself. So the person who's conducting himself thus that he says, or dicat, the ventus, the wind, is air present participle flowing into one direction. So if you say wind is air flowing in one direction, you won't be cutting yourself off in this argument. Or air is flowing by impetu, by some sort of force or blast, or force of air iunting, going into one direction. And what about the fourth definition here? Or the course of the air, when it's being concited or excited, rather excited, aliquo, going someplace. Quo is used for to a place. Ally adverbs it up, makes it any place in particular. Okay, daily dictionary. Aliquo, in some, any direction, quarter, some, anywhere, to some place, person or other. Top 10,000 words, this adverb. Back to the story. 1-4. I know, quid. I know something is able, or you're able to respond something for the other definition. So we had the first definition, which was something that flows, and then we had 5 other definitions which made it more precise. What is necessary for you to add to it is why you're adding into one direction. Utique, by all means, or at any rate, or certainly. For certainly, what flows is flowing into one direction. No one says water flows if it's only or merely being moved within itself, intra se. But if it is borne or carried to some place, aliquo again for the third time, therefore then something is able to be moving or to be moved and it's not flowing. And on the other hand, e contrario, it's not able to flow unless, nisi, it's going in some direction, in unem partem. 1-5. But, siv, either if this brevity is satisfactorily safe from calumnies, from being misinterpreted, I'm saying, let us use this ablative. Let us use this. And here's its correlative. But if, or otherwise if, aliquis means someone wants to be more circumspect. You can tell it's a comparative from the IOR, which males and females use. Don't be sparing with a word, of which it's an injection or adding is able to exclude all cavillation. However we want to put that in English. That's basically fighting over words. Now to the rem itself, now to the matter itself, let us accede, or go there. Since satisfactorily concerning this formulation of the argument has disputatum est, has been laid out or disputed, spoke about. 2-1. Democritus says, when in a narrow emptiness, and gusto's narrow, in any means it's like emptiness, there are many corpusculars, there are many small bodies, and when they are in emptiness, which he calls atoms, that's a little clause in the middle, and it picks up again, wind follows. So if you've got a little space of something with a lot of little bodies, this is wind. So they're not exactly following modern science or anything, but anyway, but contrarily, its quiet and placidness of the air is the state when in much emptiness there are few little bodies. So I don't think the dust is moving the wind around, something to do with the rotation of the earth in reality, I think. Nam quem ad modum. For just as in, or how it happens, in a forum or in a vico, some section of the city, as long as quem duioi, du is time, and when you put it together it just means for as long as there's a paucity of people or things in the forum or in that area, one can walk without tumultu, there being a tumult going on. And when a crowd concurs or runs into a narrow place, an angostum, a rixa happens, usually a bit of brawling happens of the inciting of the people who are coming in, of one going against another. people bump into each other, and I guess they have an argument over it. Okay. Sick in. Thus, in this space in which surrounds us, circumdados almost, or which around us there is, when it goes into an exiguum location, when it goes into a small space, many bodies, they implevet it, they fill it up. So when many bodies fill up a small place, it is necessary that they insidant, that they come in one to another, and they impel and they repel. They're all implicated in each other, tied up, and there's a bit of crushing going on, a bit of compromising, from which wind is born from all these things. He's comparing it to people, but he's thinking particles are hitting each other and making wind. And when collectabanting is wrestling, then incubrate means brooding or settling down. Then for a long time, incline a vere se. They lean themselves dubiously and in fluctuations, if you want to turn the English straight from the Latin, but you probably want to make it a bit more fancy. Anyway, so wind's born when these things are fighting and settling down, and for a long time they've been bouncing around. They settle themselves, but went into a great laxity, a great looseness of space. A few bodies are versanting, inhabiting or living there. Neither are they able to. This is what rams do. When a ram bashes its head into another thing, or they use it to knock down walls. So they're not able to be bashing or to be impelled or something when there's only a few bodies. Will do for the day.